Hi, welcome. In this video, we're going to go over some more Turing machines and then a linear bounded automata. So here's a language. We want to develop a Turing machine that accepts this language. This language is a to the n, b to the n, a to the n, b to the n. So what does that mean? That means that you need to have the same number of a's followed by the same number of b's, followed by the same number of a's again, and the same number of b's again. So obviously this is not a regular language, nor is this a context-free language. But we can build a Turing machine for this language. So the first step, instead of just building the Turing machine, I'm going to explain the strategy. So the strategy is to add some extra symbols to our alphabet. I'm going to add an X. That X is going to count the first A's, and a Y to count the first set of B's, and a Z to count the second set of A's, and a W to count the second set of B's. I'm not required to use any X, Y, whatever, but that's what I'm choosing to use. So the strategy is as follows. You need to count the A, find a matching B, find a matching A, find a matching B, count the next A, find a B, find an A, find a B, etc. So let's obviously, this is not in the language, but it doesn't really matter because the strategy is the same whether you have a string that's in the language or not. So let's get started and let me show you how we're going to count. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start at the beginning, and obviously if this string began with a B, it would not be in the language, so it must start with an A, and n cannot equal 0. So we're going to take this A and we're going to change it to an X. Then we're going to move right. So we're going to move right, and we're going to keep moving right past any A's until we encounter a B. And then we're going to change this B to a Y and move right. And we're going to move right past any B's until we encounter an A. And then we're going to change this A to a Z. Move right past any A's until we encounter a B. And we're going to change this B to a W. Now we're going to have to go back the other way and count the next ones. So as we are going back the other way, we need to pass by any W's that we've already changed, any A's, any Z's, any B's, any Y's, any Y's, until we encounter an A, in which case we're going to change that A to an X, and then go back the other way. Now, as we're going back the other way, not only are we going to pass by any A's that could still be there, because remember, just because there's 2 A's here, there could be 100 A's. So we're going to keep passing by any A's. We're also going to pass by Y's, any B's that have been changed to Y. And then we're going to change till we get to the next B, change that to a Y. Keep going this way. Then we're going to pass by any B's that could still be left. There could still be B's. Pass by any Z's, A's that have been changed to Z, till we locate this A, change it to a Z. Keep going this way. Then we'll pass by any A's. We also are going to pass by any W's until we encounter a B, in which case we're going to change this B to a W and then go back the other way. As we go back, we'll pass W's, we'll pass A's, we'll pass Z's, we'll pass B's, we'll pass Y's until we encounter the next A. So if there was another A, there would be another A here. But we don't have another A. What we did encounter is an X. So when we encounter this X, then we're going to leave the X alone and then start going back right again. So as we start going back right, we want to make sure that we only pass Y's, we only pass Z's, we only pass W's so that we can reach this blank, and then we know that the string is accepting in our language. But as you can see on the way there, we are not going to only pass Z's and then W's. We're going to encounter an A, which means it's going to stop here, and it's never going to make it to the blank. So you can see that this language is not, this string is not in the language. All right, moving on to the next one. Let's go through the strategy again. We change this to an X. Then we move right. As we move right, we're going to pass by any A's, any B's that have already been changed to Y. Then we change the B to a Y. Then we're going to pass any B's, any A's that have already been changed to Z. We change this to a Z. Then we're going to pass any A's and any B's that have already been changed to a W until we encounter a B. We change it to a W and we head back in this direction. Actually, I will use blue like I did before. Now, as we head back in this direction, we will pass by any W's that were already there. We'll pass any A's. We'll pass any Z's. Pass any B's. Pass any Y's. And then we will encounter another A. Change it to an X. And head back right, passing any more A's that could be there, any Y's that could be there. We encounter a B, we change it to a Y. Then we pass all the other B's. You know, you could have 100 A's, 100 B's. Then we pass any Z's. We locate this A, change it to a Z. Then we pass any more A's that are there, any more W's that are there. We take this B, change it to a W, and head back again that way. Pass the W's, pass any A's, pass any Z's, pass any B's, pass any Y's, until we encounter an A. And there are no more A's, so we have encountered an X. Once we encounter an X, we know that before it, there's only going to be X's, so we're going to notice that we have an X, leave it alone, start heading back this way, make sure we only have Y's, we only have Z's, we only have W's until we reach the blank, and then we know that this string is in the language. All right, one more example. Well, two more. Turn this to an X and head right. Pass by. As we go here, we pass the A's, we pass the Y's. We change this to a Y. We go this way. We pass the B's, we pass the Z's. We change this to a Z. And then we keep going past any A's, past any W's until we encounter a B. We need to encounter a B. If we do not encounter a B, then we're never going to get to go back left. And so we can conclude that this is not in the language. And here's this one. We change this to an X. We go right, past any more A's, any B's that have been changed into Y. Change this to a Y. We pass by any B's that are still there, any A's that have been changed to Z. We change this to a Z. We head this way. We pass by any more A's, any W's, until we encounter this B. We change it to a W. Then we head back this way. As we're heading back, we go back past all of the W's and the Z's and the A's and the Y's, and then we find we have an X. So then when we find that we have an X, we go back this way, and we make sure that we only have Y's, Z's, and W's, which we do. So we will get to this blank, and we can determine that that string is in the language. All right, so here is the Turing machine and the transitions. So let's get started by drawing a string that's in the language. A, B, A, B. And we'll just follow along with the transitions, and I will draw it. So we start here. We start in Q0 with an A. So what do we do if we are in Q0 and we have an A? We're going to move to, because we need to get, this is how you get A, B, A, B, right? But then we have the parts where you have to go past all the Y's and A's, all the Z's and B's, all the W's and A's. And then when you're heading back left, you have to pass by everything on your way back left. So that's just what all of these extra transitions are. So we're going to move to Q1. We're going to change A to an X, and we're going to move right. Now we have a B. We're going to move to Q2. We're going to change the B to a Y, and we're going to move right. Now we have an A. We're in Q2. We have an A. We're going to change the A to a Z and move right. And now we have a B. We're going to change the B to a W. And of course, we're going to move left. All right, so now we are in Q4. We are in Q4, and we have Q4, and we have encountered a Z. So if we're in Q4 and we encounter a Z, we're going to stay in Q4, and we're going to move left. Now we're in Q4, and we have encountered a Y. We have encountered a Y, so we are going to move to Q5, but we're going to leave the Y and move left. Now we're in Q5, and we have encountered an X, so we're going to go to Q0, leave it alone, and go right. This is how we're counting our X's and our Y's. Now we are in Q0. We have a Y. We're going to move to Q6 and move right. So now we are in Q6. We have a Z. We're going to stay in Q6 and move right. Now we are in Q6. We have a W. We're going to stay in Q6 and move right. Now we're in Q6. We have a blank. We are going to move to Q7. Q7 is the accepting state. So now, and then we're going to move back left. So this is a string that is accepting in the language. Let's try a string let's go to the next slide where I put the transitions in a little different order, and we'll do a couple of strings there. Let's start by doing a string that is not accepting. So I'm just going to show you, this is, if you take a look at this, this is the first A, then this is moving right past all of the A's and Y's, and this is the first B, moving right past all the B's and Z's. This is the next A, moving right past all the A's and W's, and this is the B where you start to move back left. Then this is moving back left until you get to a Y, and then this is moving back left until you get to an X, and then this is how you're moving all the way back right until you get to the blank. So we will do two with this. I will put two strings. First string I will do is going to be accepting, and then we'll do a not accepting one. So we have A, B, B, A, B, B, blank. All right, so let's just get started and trace this. We start here. We have an A. We change it to an X. We move right. We have an A. So we've moved right. We have an A. We leave the A alone. We move right. Now we have a B. We're in Q1. We have a B. We change it to a Y, and we move right. Now we have a B. We leave it alone. We move right. Now we have an A. We change it to a Z. We move right. Now we have an A. We leave it alone. We move right. Now we have a B. We change it to a W, and we move left. So now we're going to start moving left here. We are in our state we are in is Q4. So we are here. We're in Q4 with an A. We leave it alone. We move left. We're in Q4 with a Z. We leave it alone. We move left. We're in Q4 with a B. We leave it alone. We move left. Now we're in Q4 with a Y. We're going to move to Q5, but we're still going to leave it alone and move left. Now we have an A. We are in Q5. We have an A. We're going to leave it alone and move left. Now we're in Q5. We have encountered an X. So we're going to move to Q0, leave the X alone and move right. So now we're going, until you actually go to this X, you don't know that you are at, my other thing I forgot to show you that until you actually realize you've hit this X, you don't know that you're at the next A. You have to go back past all of the A's, hit the X, and then get to that A. So those of you who didn't keep going, you missed that part. Okay, so now we have this A right here. And now this is our second A. So again, I will repeat as you are going back like this past everything, you have to get to the X to know that this is your next A. Because if you go back and you find an A and you have 100 A's, it could be the 100th A, right? So you got to go all the way back to the X so that you find out that this is the next A. So now that we found that this is the next A, we are in Q0, we have an A, we're going to change it to an X and move right. So we change this to an X, we move right. Then we move past this Y. Now we have a B, we change it to a Y, we move right. Now we're going to move past this Z. We have an A, we change it to a Z, we move right. Now we're going to move past this W. Now we have a B, we're going to change it to a W, and then we're going to head back left again. All right, so now we head back left. We are in Q4. If you have a W, you just keep going left. You have a Z, you go left. You have a Y, you go left. You have a Y, you go left. You have an X. You go, so now this is where we can see you have an X. So we're at this X right here, right? So this is where you're going to go right. You're going to go to Q0 and you're going to go right. Now, if this was another A, we would continue back over here, but it is not another A. It is a Y. So we now know that we have taken care of all of our A's. So now we have a Y here. We're going to go to Q6. Q6 is the state in which we make sure we don't have, if you notice all of the Q6 transitions, there's nothing defined for an A or a B. So Q6 is where we're going to go through and we're going to make sure that we have only Y's, only Z's, and only W's. So we located our X, we moved over. That is not an A, so now we're going to go through and make sure we only have Y's, Z's, and W's. So then we just keep going right, 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 right until we encounter the blank, and then we know that this string is in the language. Let's do one more with a string that is not in the language. So these transitions are, you can draw them out. I have them drawn out on the next slide. So let's do a string that is not in the language. We'll make it pretty. Here we got A, B, A, B, B, blank. All right, so we're going to start here. We have our A, we change it to an X, and we move right. I'm not drawing the arrows. Now we have an A, we're going to bypass that A and move right. We got a B, we change it to a Y, we move right. Now we're going to pass by any B's or Z's, which we don't have any. We get to this A, we change it to a Z, we move right. Now we're going to pass the A, we get to this B, we change it to a W, and now we move left. Now we're going to move left past any W's, which we don't have, any A's, any Z's, any B's, until we locate a Y. So here we have a Y. We did get a Y, so we're going to move left. Now we have to go back. Remember, we have to go back past all of our A's until we get to an X. That's when you make a change, because we don't know if this is the 100th A and there's more A's before it, so we have to keep going past all of our A's until we get an X. As soon as we get an X, we move here. Now we are in Q0, and we have an X, so we moved here, and now we're in Q0 with an A, so we're going to change that to an X, and then we're going to move along. So now we are here. We just did Q0 and we moved right. So now you're going to go, we're in Q1. So let's look at Q1. Q1 with a Y, we move right. Okay, so we're already stuck because we're in Q1. Q1, we have defined what happens if there's a Y, what happens if there's an A, what happens if there's a B, but there's nothing defined for Q1 with a Z, which means that we have determined that we have two A's, but we don't have two B's. We don't have another B to match our A, so we're going to halt, we're going to stop right here, and we're never going to get to the blank, so this is not going to lead into an accepting state, and we will be stuck in Q1. All right, so here is what the Turing machine state machine looks like. It's all of these transitions are just laid out. From Q0 with an A, you pick up your first A, your first B, your A, your B, and then you start heading back left. You go back left. Then this is how you locate the X. Remember, you have to go back to the beginning. You locate the X. And then if there's another A, you're going to go through the whole thing again. If you have all of the X's, all the A's have already been turned to X's, then there will be a Y. And then you're going to go past to make sure you have all W's and Y's and Z's, and then you will lead to an accepting. So I'll just show you again. This, you would pick up your first A. Then you bypass all the A's and Y's. Then you pick up a B. Bypass all the B's and Z's. Pick up an A. Pass all the A's and W's. Pick up a B. Then you're going to start going back to the left. Back to the left past all of the W's, the A's, the Z's, the B's until you hit a Y. When you hit a Y, you're going to keep going past all the Y's and A's. This is the important one. You want to get to this X. So if your string was like this, and you have an X here, and an A here, and an A here, you need to get to this X right here and go back right, because you can't stop at this A. If you stop at this A, you're not going to know that it's the next A. So you get back to this X, then you go right. Then if you have another A, then you're going to pick up the next A, etc. But if the X was here and this is a Y, then you would take this transition right here, make sure you have only W, Y's, and Z's, and then you would lead to the accepting state if you can make it to the blank. So let's, this is the solutions manual solution to this. It's the same, it's just using different symbols. And now we're just going to talk about, actually I'm going to stop here and I will record another video for the types of languages that are accepted by a Turing machine and also the linear bounded automata.